Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Austin here with my guy Matt. Here to talk about the college football playoffs today, because we got that coming up on Saturday. It's gonna be a wild weekend, I think. Got OSU playing the Georgia Bulldogs, and then we got TCU and Michigan. I think both of these are gonna be really great games, but we're just here to kind of pick apart what we think's gonna happen and everything. I'll just start it off with I think the key to OSU beating Georgia is just scoring points because being an OSU fan, I look at Georgia like just a roided up Michigan pretty much. Better defense, better offense, and I think you just got to outscore them. Defense has to play really good, obviously, too. Like, they gave up all those big plays to Michigan, but you got to score points to beat Georgia, I think.
Yeah. Georgia, defensively, I think I've said this in the past, best in I think the entire college football. I don't know. I think Georgia, obviously, they're holding on to that whole trying to repeat. They're obviously the team to beat. I mean, they're the number one overall seed or team. Um, but I don't know. I said this, I think, last time as well. I think whoever wins Ohio State, Georgia, whoever wins that game is going to win the whoever wins between TCU or Michigan is going to lose to Ohio State or Georgia. I know Michigan beat Ohio State already, but I think if they rematched for whatever reason, I think Ohio State would get their revenge on that. And I
You would
guarantee you
hope they
that's
would
probably
fix
what
all
actually
those
most people are hoping.
problems.
I think a lot of people would actually hope for that matchup. So I think a lot of people might root for Ohio State, also in part because Georgia also won last year, and people like to see new teams win. And people would probably want to see an Ohio State Michigan rematch anyway. It'd probably do very well.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. But I know, honestly, talked about it already. Anytime we've talked about Georgia on here already, and just in general, that I think that they have nobody gives their offense as much credit as they should, and it's because their offense isn't flashy or anything. But anytime there's a clutch moment, last year in the national championship, every time through this year, Stetson Bennett and their offense find a way to just clutch up literally when it matters the most every single time, and that's honestly my big worry because if we gave up those big plays to Michigan, Georgia is even more dangerous than Michigan on both sides of the ball. So if you give up big plays, they're gonna get beat. There's no question in my mind about it.
Yeah, I think Stetson Bennett is arguably the most underrated quarterback in all of college. I think he's overlooked. I don't even know if he's projected to be drafted in this upcoming draft. Yeah, I mean, maybe he is, but if he is, he's still going to be like very late sixth, seventh round type pick, I'm assuming. But I think whoever gets him, that's a steal. But yeah, no, Georgia's very good. I mean, they put up, I should say, I think like 38 points per game. So yeah, they have a very above average offense as well as a actually very good defense. So both work out very well in their favor. Whereas, yeah, Ohio State, I mean, they too have a very good offense. I mean, they have like the best receiving core in college. So
Yeah, for
it
sure.
should be very interesting.
And with that too, I mean, obviously the numbers don't matter at all. We've seen that proved multiple times that numbers don't matter. But points per game, OSU's 44, Georgia's 39. But points allowed, Ohio State's 19, Georgia's at almost 13. So those numbers make it alone sound like a good game. But I just think the biggest key for Ohio State's defense, anyways, is stopping the run. I mean, you can't give up big pass plays or anything, but as clutch as Stetson Bennett is when he has to be, I would much rather that game come down to you making Stetson Bennett beat you passing than them just being able to
Right.
have their way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you go look at Stetson's numbers, not going to jump out at you 20 touchdowns, six interceptions. It doesn't sound bad, but in comparison to like what Stroud does, which is, I don't know how many touchdowns he's thrown,
37
but
to
more than,
6.
yeah, I was going to say it's definitely more than 20. He's he's still good. I mean, 3,400 yards, and he completes 68% of his passes in comparison to Stroud, who, I don't know what Stroud's numbers are passing. Oh, 3,300 yards and complete 60. I mean, so yeah, he might not throw for a lot of touchdowns, but or anything, but he's still a good
He's just
quarterback.
efficient.
He's still clutch. Yeah,
So I mean, honestly, we could go. There's not too much more to say about this game, really. I mean, we're 2 days away. I think, at least for this game anyway, if Ohio State's going to win, you got to shut down Georgia and you got to outscore them. Plain and simple, you got to outscore them. The offense has to be clicking like they were against Utah last year. Like they have even slightly close to a game like they had against Michigan. I think Georgia beats them by 17 or 21, 24, something like that. But
yeah. There's no way this game's gonna be a blowout where it's just all one sided on either side. It's going to be one of those games decided by probably less than a score. So, at least I would assume
I mean, that's
how
what
this game
Vegas
would
has the
go.
odds at too, 6.5.
Yeah. So I don't know. What I don't know is if it would be a high scoring game or if it would be relatively low in comparison to what these teams are normally putting up.
Yeah, that's honestly
Yeah, I don't know.
impossible to guess almost.
Yeah, it is.
Especially on a big game like this, you don't know which side's gonna show up more on offense or defense, or just I don't know, dude. The playoffs, it'll get wild. I think because even though I'm the Ohio State fan here, I couldn't tell you I got all my faith in the Buckeyes, but it's gonna be a wild game. I think I'm not confident at all that we just got it locked or anything like that.
Right. And then you also have the other side, TCU Michigan. I know
Yeah,
we were talking. You have the who you think is the most under or I don't know if underrated is the right word, but not as given the respect he deserves. Quarterback in TCU over there, and Max Duggan.
yeah. Watching him play, dude, he's a gamer. He's honestly the most enjoyable college quarterback I've watched this year. Honestly, especially in that Kansas State championship game, he did everything himself in the fourth quarter. Pretty much, it was wild to watch. Some 20 plus yard run, multiple 20 plus yard runs in the fourth quarter. The time, well, not time, but the score that set up the 2 point conversion with like a minute and a half left. He just balled out completely and took over that fourth quarter to bring TCU back from I think like 10 down. I'm pretty sure is what it was, or 10 or 11.
I don't remember the situation, but yeah, I do remember that.
But I think that game's gonna. I mean, says here the matchup predictors got. I mean, the spread's not that much bigger. It's 7.5, but matchup predictors got 66% for Michigan, and I think Michigan's gonna win. If I was betting on just strictly no spread, who's gonna win? I think most people would pick Michigan too, but I think this game is gonna be a lot closer because TCU just they've looked good all year. I mean, they've had a lot of close games, but I don't know, dude. I think it's going to be a really good game because Michigan's offense is still kind of in question with Corum. I guess not. I don't think he's going to be playing, right? Do you know?
Or, let's see.
Pretty sure he said he was not coming back for the season. I heard one of my buddies that's a Michigan fan just said he was coming back, but I
It
have not
has him
heard
listed
that.
as active on here, but it also has Hendon Hooker listed as active. So I have no idea. He had knee surgery a month ago, so I doubt it, but who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, he is done. Yeah, because the latest thing about it is he's done for the season. So I don't know why it says he's active on here.
I know it's different competition too, but I think the biggest key to this game is either going to be TCU's offense or obviously Michigan's defense because other than Georgia, Michigan's probably the other. I don't know what it comes out to numbers wise. I don't even know their actual ranking, but they've got to be top 3 or 5 for defense because they're only giving up 13 points a game on average.
Yeah, let's see, defensive leaders. Michigan is number 5.
5, I guess that makes sense, but either way, I mean, with TCU, that's really what they're obviously known for, just like most of the Big 12 teams is offense, but I don't know, dude. I think this is the most excited I've been for a college football playoff in a little while. Maybe other than last year, because I was really hoping Cincinnati could pull an upset on Bama last year, but just for the actual evenness of matchups, I think these are going to be two wild games to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I said before, I mean, TCU is, I guess, the underdog, if you were to say, for this for the four teams. Although they're not an underdog, but yeah, they are, I guess. But I want TCU to just do something. I think, like you said before, Max Duggan, in terms of everything, I think he'll get drafted, but not in the correct spot in terms of where he should be drafted. I think he's made a case to be a second round pick or third round pick, and I don't even know if he's that as of right this second. If you were to look at a mock draft, so yeah, I mean, I'll root for TCU to beat Michigan. Do I think they will? Probably not, but I think that they'll always put up a fight against them. Um, But yeah, I mean, as of right now, I am gonna have to just say it is gonna be a Michigan Georgia, and I think Georgia is just gonna repeat. I think that team's just too good.
Yeah, I think that's what most people would probably say. That's honestly how I feel, even though I'm going to be going
Yeah.
hard for the Buckeyes, but it wouldn't make me mad if TCU won everything either, especially if
No,
they didn't
it
beat the
would not.
Buckeyes to do it, because
I'll, yeah, that's kind of what I would want TCU to win it all, but I think it'll be what I just said is Michigan Georgia. I mean, yeah, Michigan Georgia, and Georgia wins. Even though that's boring, it's the two top teams, and it's kind of like what um statistics would say, like, yeah, that's what it would be anyways. Two top teams play, and then the top team just wins. That's boring, and no one wants to see that. But hey, there's only four teams to choose from, and um,
I,
Georgia's just a good team.
yeah, the 12-team playoff will definitely change things, but yeah, the four that we got right now, uncut right now before these games happen, Georgia clearly deserves the number one spot, and they've maintained it since last year, so there's a reason for it.
You're right.
But
So
that's all I got to
not
say about
much.
this, and I don't know if you got anything else you want
No,
to
I
add.
mean, aside from the college football playoff, I mean, the only two other games are the Clemson Tennessee game, and then you have the Kansas State and Bama game.
Which both those
As
should
far as
honestly be
any
pretty
relevance,
good.
they should be. I think Bama will win, but let's be honest, winning a bowl game for the college playoff football playoffs, so the four teams, obviously that's more important for those four. Then it's not to say that the Bama Kansas State game is meaningless, but in comparison to the playoffs, I guess,
Yeah,
yeah. Obviously
honestly,
the playoffs are more weight.
ever since they started the playoffs, I've zoned out from a lot of bowl games other than any specific ones that interest me. Like I think Penn State and Utah is going to be a good one. I'm definitely going to watch that. I will be watching Alabama and Kansas State, but yeah, a lot of the bowl games there really is no point in having it. But
Are you gonna watch the one tomorrow? The Clemson Tennessee one? I would assume
yeah,
no.
I'm going to try to watch
Oh, you
that,
are.
or at least some of it, because I truly think Tennessee can still beat Clemson without Hendon Hooker, just because Clemson's been overrated all year. I think I told you, and I know I was talking to people about Notre Dame was definitely going to beat Clemson. I had no question in my mind that the upset was going to happen. I'm just mad I didn't bet on it now.
Yeah, I think if Hendon Hooker was healthy, I think. I mean, I know they had lost earlier in the year, but I still think if he was healthy, I think there was a good shot that they would have been in the college football playoff
Yeah,
because
they
they were
definitely.
number one at one point, weren't
Yeah, and
they?
they probably wouldn't have lost to South Carolina either.
Yeah. So they kind of got screwed over in that sense. But he's another quarterback I think will be all right in the NFL.
Yeah, as long as everything with his recovery goes good, I have no doubt he's gonna still be a good. Because he was as good, if not better, than Bryce Young when they played Alabama.
Yep. I know it was a big game.
But that's all I think we got right now for playoffs and stuff. I mean, we'll have a lot more to say after the game and talk about the Natty and everything in 2 days. So
Right.
next
Yeah.
week we'll
It
have
was
everything there is to say about it.
not too much to talk about other than just more of a predictions based thing, unless you want to go like I guess in depth on specifics. But
If you're
I
watching
guess it would be
this,
more so.
you already know what it is. You know we're in for two games here. Two
Yeah,
big games.
it's only two. It's only yeah. I don't know. It's more in depth after the two games end because it's just more of like I don't know if there's something stupid that happens.
You can actually analyze everything.
Right.
But I guess we'll take it over to NFL now after last week. I know you saw the Lions game.
I did, and they lost. But I had a feeling they would.
They're still in it though, right? They're still in contention
Yeah,
right
they
now.
are. They are.
Because the Giants
Yeah.
lost. Is that what happened?
Well, I think so. The only way for them to make it is they have to win the rest of their season, and I forget who it is has to lose, or at least like lose one game. I don't remember. It's like Washington. It's something to do with Washington and Seattle. One of them losing, or maybe both of them losing. But if the Lions lose one more game, I think they're done.
I know we've been talking about it every week pretty much, but I mean, they have a very winnable last two games.
Chicago and Green Bay.
Yeah.
Green Bay's in it too. A lot of people think Green Bay will sneak in.
Yeah, it's possible because did they just win this week, right?
They did. I forget who they played, but yeah.
I was about to say, I know Christmas I was trying to watch as much football as I could. I couldn't see everything, but yeah, and we had the Eagles. Didn't you say the Eagles were going to lose? Well, I know you
yeah,
at least said if they were going to lose, it was probably going to be this week or to
yeah,
Washington.
it was. It was to Dallas, and that was also partially because I knew Jalen Hurts wasn't going to play, and he didn't.
And it's still a really good game, though.
Yeah, it was Gardner. He didn't even have a bad game. I mean, people would say, "Oh, it was because Gardner lost." Gardner Minshew's not even a bad quarterback, but I just had a feeling it was going to be that game. I mean, Philly, all they have to do is just win a game, and they're not going to try for the rest of the season because they'd have the number one overall seed locked up, I believe. I don't think Minnesota can take that from them, even if they finish both at 14-3. I don't think Minnesota can take the number one.
Yeah.
And Minnesota wouldn't. They're not going to. Minnesota, they play Green Bay this week. I think that's a very good chance for Green Bay to win that game. Green Bay's been a very good team recently. They're actually, even though they've had their issues this year, they're still a team to like. They're still Green Bay. It's still Aaron Rodgers. So,
I mean, that's why they're 7-8 now too, right there with the Lions.
right there with them. The Seattle's right there with that as well.
And the Buccaneers, baby.
Yeah, that's another one. They have an important game this week with the Panthers. If the Panthers beat the Buccaneers this week, I think
It'll open up some more shit to happen.
well, it'll make Week 18 really interesting for the Buccaneers and the Panthers because the Buccaneers, if the Panthers win this upcoming week and then they win next week also, Panthers are in. It doesn't even matter what the Buccaneers do next week. But
We'll see if old Tom Brady lets that happen.
I could be wrong, but I think if the Buccaneers win this week, here, let's test it out right now. The Buccaneers win this week, and then they lose next week, and they win, they'd still make it. So if they win this weekend, they're in. Even they could still make it as an 8-9 team.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird with a couple of teams that get in with those kind of record. Well, I guess there won't be too many of them, but
I don't think the Lions can get in. I think the Lions have to win out because if they lose a game, and I don't know. I wonder if like all these teams win, what would happen to them? I'm not really sure.
This is the point of season we were waiting for, though. We're waiting for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
It's all these couple
like
weeks.
5 teams, and even the AFC South is very interesting because Jacksonville is probably actually They're looking really good to make the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
And I know they play tonight, actually. Tennessee plays tonight against Dallas. They're going to lose because Ryan Tannehill's not playing. Not that he's anything special anyway. Derrick Henry, I don't think, is playing today.
And that is that team, Tannehill and Derrick Henry.
I mean, they don't have a receiving core, but it's going to be Malik Willis at quarterback. And I don't know who the backup running back there is, but it's not Derrick Henry. So, or anyone close to him. So, I don't know what would happen to. Yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen there. I think Jacksonville sneaks in. And they're a team that no one would have thought that preseason. At least I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, and I know it's not related to that, but the fact that I think Tua's on concussion protocol, right?
Yeah, he's probably not playing this weekend, which helps the Patriots. And Miami's going to do what they always do, which is start off the season looking like pretty good. The only other big news, non-playoff related, is the Denver Broncos fired their head coach.
All because of Russell Wilson.
Well, they suck anyway,
Okay,
but
yeah.
he's Russell Wilson's garbage. I don't know. I mean, you could say, oh, well, it could be the coach, but like the coach isn't on the field making him play that way. So yeah, he's making the play calls, but he still makes him like Russell Wilson still has something in terms of to blame for. Like, so I think they have the worst offense in football. I think they only allow. They have a good defense, but their offense is just that bad. So I think if a team puts up like 17 points up on them, they'll beat them. They're just that bad.
That loss to the Rams was fucking terrible too.
Yeah, they got killed.
Russell Wilson
You
threw
have
3 picks
Cam
in the fourth
Akers.
quarter, right?
I
In the fourth.
don't remember, but I know Cam Akers, who's arguably the worst running back in football, starting quarter running back anyway, put up 3 touchdowns. Like, Cam Akers is never having a game like that in his career because he barely can get like 50 yards in a game. And he put up, I don't know what his stats were, I just know it was 3 touchdowns.
Well, shout out the fucking Broncos for that.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Literally, think all of us thought they were gonna at least make a wild card or something this year. Russell Wilson just.
It's going to be very interesting these last 2 weeks, though. Specifically, again, just for about 5 or so teams: Detroit, the Buccaneers, Panthers, Jets, Seahawks, Washington. Yeah, Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville, honestly, they're looking. If you're a Jacksonville fan, you're happy right now, honestly, because I think even though they're at the same record as Tennessee, they're having. They're gonna have a better chance at making the playoffs, and they play each other in Week 18 too. Jacksonville and Tennessee, so.
Especially how their season started too.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville's been arguably one of the best teams in football the past few weeks.
Yeah, at least top 10 probably.
Yeah. Jacksonville has been good. The Packers on the come up now. They're relevant. Even the Steelers, who I thought were going to be terrible this year, are still in it.
The Steelers?
Yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're still in it.
Yeah, they're not out of the wild card. I just noticed that. Holy shit.
They're 7-8 or something like that.
Yep.
And I'm on the ESPN playoff predictor machine thing, so it's just you can just make up your guesses for who like you think's gonna win this upcoming weekend and in Week 18. And remember, it saves it for both weeks, and it will tell you who will be in the playoffs after you do all that stuff. So,
well, these next 2 weeks are gonna be barn burners, I think, with everything coming up.
Yeah, I was just playing around with it and favored see if Detroit can make it with an 8-9 record. They still can, but they would have to have like everyone lose that's around them. Like Seattle would have to lose both games, Washington would have to lose both games, and Green Bay would have to lose both games.
But if they win out, I'd say they definitely have more than a 50% chance of making it. If if they win the next
If
2
they
weeks.
went out, let's see. So if they go 9-8, Washington, who of them? If they went out, they beat Green Bay because they play them next week. What the fuck? Oh. I think if they went out, they would need Washington and Seattle to go 1-1, or just have them both lose.
Which is a
If it,
fair chance.
yeah, because Washington plays Dallas and Cleveland. Seattle plays the Jets this weekend, which should be a good game actually, and then they play the Rams, which isn't that hard. And then Green Bay plays the Lions in the last week of the season, and Green Bay also plays the Vikings this weekend.
Yeah, so it's in their favor for sure if they went out.
Yeah, they definitely can, because the Lions, they play the Bears, which I would assume they can beat the Bears. And then they play Green Bay in the last week, which that'll be a good game. I mean, that's in Lambeau as well.
Yeah, that's definitely probably pretty much the make or break for their season.
Yeah, it is. Along with the other teams around, because even if they win out, they don't necessarily make it. But it's more in line. They have to win out, and basically Washington and Seattle have to lose one game. And if they both lose that one game this weekend, and the Lions win that one game this weekend, they're in they're in good shape.
Yeah, for sure. And I would definitely say, I guess my ending statement, you can say whatever you want. For me, the ending statement is just, it's pretty much the same thing as last week other than all the wild card opportunities, because obviously the top teams are still the top teams. 49ers, that Eagles-Dallas game doesn't make a difference. Eagles are still probably the favorite overall. Kansas City, Buffalo, Bengals. I mean, that's the top probably 8 teams right there, top 6 teams. Nothing's really changed in that.
I would say that. Yeah, AFC, you got. I mean, those are your top 3. The 3 you just said of Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati. I would say that's a team that no one's really talking about. I mean, they are, but not to like make noise. And they clinched. The Chargers are a team that I think could make some noise in the playoffs. Another team, I think, honestly, you also can't count out Tampa under the assumption they actually make the playoffs, which still have a pretty good chance at.
Yeah, and we've said that every week. That's all he's
Yeah.
got to do is just get to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's Tom Brady, so. But I think, honestly, it would not surprise me, and I just thought about this yesterday. And I know we had this little thing last week about the NFL being rigged and everything, so we never know what's going on with that. But if we're talking about just strictly skill and strictly the talent of their football team, I would not surprise me if the San Francisco 49ers go to the Super Bowl. But they're one of those teams that always go to that point, or the NFC Championship game. They're always that team. They get there and they just lose. But they're arguably the best team in football right now.
Yeah, I mean, they got an 8-win streak going.
Yeah, and with Brock Purdy in the past few games.
The new goat. I mean, them the Bengals and Buffalo, the Bengals and Buffalo, all 3 have the longest winning streaks right now.
Yeah, the Bengals have been really good too, yeah. I mean, it would not shock me if I saw the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl if it was strictly based off of them just playing.
Yeah.
And nothing else. And whereas the AFC, I don't know. I mean, AFC, that's tough.
I think the AFC is definitely coming down to Kansas City, Bengals, or the Bills.
Yeah, I can't see. And if there was somehow a sleeper team in there, again, I said before, it would be the Chargers. But
my money's starting to fall off the Dolphins. I've been talking a lot about them being my dark horse this year.
I think they're going to just draw. They did this last year, too, where they had the chance to make the playoffs, and they just choked in the end of the season, and they missed it.
Yeah, it's not looking good now.
They're going to maybe do it again this year, because they have an important game with the Patriots coming up, and then their last game of the season, they play the Jets, which is going to be important for the Jets, because the Jets, I think, will sneak in somehow at the 7th spot.
They probably need to win at least, well, winning out, obviously, but at least one game, right? For sure, one
Uh,
game.
yeah, they do. Is if actually I think they have to win out completely. If they win out, they'll make it. If they go 1-1, because assuming the Dolphins lose this weekend, the Patriots,
That's
the
right. Yeah.
Dolphins lose to the Jets next weekend, which would make the Dolphins not make it. It would actually make the Patriots make it.
All right. Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
they'd have to win out this weekend, the Jets, and or this win out. I mean, that's it. They just have to win out.
Well,
Doesn't
I,
really matter what happens.
yeah.
Or wait, no, they wouldn't. They would have to win out, and the Patriots would have to lose at least one more game, which is definitely possible because the Patriots play the Bills also, besides the Dolphins.
Well, I mean, it's been every week now, but obviously these last 2 weeks we're finally down to this point of the season now where every game literally does matter now.
Yep,
So
for like half the league, unless you're like a Chicago Bears fan, then who
yeah,
cares?
but I don't have anything else to add. I don't know if you want to throw anything else in here.
No, I don't think so.
I just know it's going to be a good weekend because we got another week of this, and then obviously college football playoffs, and we'll have a lot of shit
Yep.
to talk about Monday morning, or I guess I should say next Thursday.
Yep. And then we got yeah, oh yeah, JJ Watt retired. I saw that yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it happened.
Yeah, we'll pour some out.
Yeah.
But all right, well, if you don't got anything else, I got all I had to say out this episode. So
Yeah, I got nothing. Luka Doncic is the new
yeah,
Michael Jordan.
Skip Bayless calls him 8 out of 10.
Skip Bayless. He's also a retard.
That's also true. With that being said, appreciate you all for tuning into this, and we will see y'all next Thursday. Peace.